The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. It's an unlikely name for an album that will herald the beginnings of one of rock music's best-selling bands. I remember at the start of the 80s, as a teenager, wandering the streets of Cambridge on a Saturday afternoon, imagining that if I was lucky, I'd bump into Syd Barrett. A shop called Tiger Lily up on Mill Road selling old Afghan coats was a frequent stop along the way. The other was Andy's record stall on the market. And when I was a bit older, the Little Rose pub, now Lock Fine, on Trumpington Street. But of course, I never saw Syd. I now know I was looking in the wrong part of town. The territory where we grow up is a profoundly formative influence on our later lives, and that is no more true than with artists. 3 of the 5 members of Pink Floyd grew up here in Cambridge, and yet, apart from the memorial to Syd Barrett in Anglia Ruskin, there are no blue plaques to them around the town. Nonetheless, as I go about my daily life here in the city, whenever I pass by one of the places connected to the band, I can't help but reflect on what a formative influence it might have had on their later music. Syd Barrett spent the first years of his life here in Glisson Road, just off Mill Road, but at the age of 6, the family moved to this house, in Hills Road, which was to be the family home while Syd was growing up. It was from here that Syd would have walked to Morley Memorial Primary School, where Roger Waters was 2 years above him. Roger Waters, meanwhile, was living just round the corner in Rock Road. What name could be more apt for the residence of an aspiring rock star? Later, they would both go on to study here, at Cambridgeshire High School for Boys, now Hills Road Sixth Form College. And at the same time, guitarist David Gilmour was growing up on the west side of the city, in the idyllically situated Grantchester Meadows. Here we're in Grantchester Meadows on the banks of the River Granter, and it's here where generations of youngsters from the town have come punting, swimming, or just sitting on the banks of the riverside in the summer afternoons. And it's here, of course, which gave its name to the song Grantchester Meadows on the album Amagama. And where I'm standing now is just a couple of 100 metres from where David Gilmour grew up. In 1962, Syd Barrett enrolled at the Cambridge College of Arts and Technology, or CCAT as it was known, now part of Anglia Ruskin, and it was there that he met David Gilmour. The other contact they had at this time was Storm Thorgerson, who was growing up here in Earl Street. It was Thorgerson who designed many of Pink Floyd's album covers, including the iconic cover for Dark Side of the Moon. Of course, in time, they all moved away from Cambridge and went on to make their fame and fortune. But in 1981, Syd Barrett returned to live at his mother's in Cambridge, just off Cherry Hinton Road. Whoever would have imagined that the founder member of one of the biggest rock bands would have spent the last 25 years of his life living in almost total obscurity here in this house. He had given up music and had returned to his first love, painting. And at the same time he had a part-time job collecting the supermarket trolleys in the car park at the local Sainsbury's. It was an unlikely retirement occupation for one of rock music's historical icons, but then perhaps only as unlikely as the name of their first album.